you're going to be checking out photos. You're not going to check her out. That's not helpful. All right.
Kyle died.
Where did he go? This happens sometimes. Sometimes Kyle just disappears.
Where's the heart?
Chase your smile.
3, 2, 1. Hello, and welcome back to another thrilling episode of Geek-Cetera. In this week's episode, Kyle brings back the Toy Story nostalgia. Luke has left us yet again, so we replaced him with our friend Chase the Frisbee. And
Hello.
I go heavy on the Star Wars. Now, let's get geeky. In our first segment, which we talk about what we've done in the past week, that is nerdy, geeky, dorky, we are going to start with you, SuperFriendly. What kind of stuff have you done this past week?
Let me be the first to welcome Chase the Frisbee, as Josh only introduced him, but welcome, Chase. If you'll remember, I believe it was episode 3 that we first introduced the idea of Chase the Frisbee as our first commenter. He doesn't really like his name.
No, I think you gave me a stupid name.
Yeah, well,
I think it was Kyle trying to make a pun off of my actual name and the fact that I play Ultimate Frisbee a ton.
It was definitely a pun on, yes, right on both accounts, and I was trying to protect your identity for the masses.
Oh no, somebody might figure out that a person on the internet has a name.
Welcome, Chase. We're really happy to have you.
I'm glad to be here.
And we're pretty confident that you can do much better than Luke anyways.
I would like to hope so.
It's not that hard. All you have to do to be like Luke is just yell at SuperFriendly a bunch, and you'll fit in fine.
All right, sounds good.
So what do you have for us, Kyle? What did you do this past week?
Before I get into that, Chase, I wanted to ask you what you think your handle should be if it's not Chase That Frisbee. We're going to address each other by our first names. But if you feel like Chase the Frisbee, because that really is what you do. If Chase the Frisbee isn't your name, how do you feel? What's your handle?
I always go by IndyCar champion.
IndyCar
big
champion.
IndyCar. Yep, always been a big IndyCar fan. So.
Great, we'll call you Chase.
IndyCar champion.
All right, we can go with that. That sounds good. So anyways, I will get to what I was doing in the past week now. First of all, this morning I pre-ordered Battlefront 2.
Poor choice.
Have been saying I didn't really want to do it. I'm not into new video games, and I was impulse buying, and I pre-ordered. It was like 80. Well, I'm not going to say how much it was because Sarah might be listening.
I heard it.
I pre-ordered Battlefront 2. I'm looking forward to it now. I maybe not so much when it hit my wallet, but off of that, and I'm just going to throw in some news here. The DLC for all of Star Wars Battlefront is free right now. So if you own Star Wars Battlefront and you've been putting off buying the DLC, it's free. So download it now and play it.
So what made you go from not being super excited about Battlefront 2 to pre-ordering it?
And spending a stupid amount of money. Yeah.
Well, a lot of my friends do play this game. I played this game. I'm not going to lie. I put a lot of hours into the first Battlefront, even though I wasn't crazy about it. We've talked in the past that my favorite Battlefront was the original Battlefront 2.
Because that was the best one.
It was the best one. And I think that this Battlefront is really going to redeem itself. Looking forward to playing by myself, also with friends online, and having the entire Star Wars canon available to me.
Yeah, I think I'm going to get it myself.
Yeah.
I'd have to wait and see what it's like when it comes out if I want to actually buy it again, because I feel like it's going to play the exact same as the Battlefront that they came out with a year ago, whatever.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay, but it might play the same way, but there's going to be some story mode. There's a companion book that's coming out.
Inferno Squad,
that
yeah.
didn't happen with
that's
the last
fair.
one. And I first pre-ordered NBA 2K18.
Your wife's a sugar mama.
Yeah, she keeps it rolling for me.
So you pre-ordered NBA 2K as well?
I did. So what I do is I like Madden. I like the 2K series. I'm a huge basketball fan. And it used to be every other year I would either get 2K or Madden. So that way I wasn't buying both of them every year. It's been a few years since I bought a new 2K, and I love 2K.
Who's on the cover this year? Because I heard a rumor that it was going to be Kyrie Irving, and I didn't know if that was true or not.
Yes, Kyrie.
It is.
And I don't know if they're going to make any last-minute changes and put him in a Celtics uniform. I think that'd be stupid.
Why? Do you think that would be stupid? He is a Celtic.
He's a Celtic now, but the reason he's on the cover is because all of the exploits he did as a Cav.
I think they should put him in a Celtics uniform.
Okay, but are you Are you a Celtics fan? Are you a basketball fan? We've never talked about basketball.
I don't talk about basketball. But
do you like basketball?
I like playoff basketball. Here's my problem with basketball. And I am a Celtics fan when it comes to basketball. But I feel like basketball, you only need to watch the last 5 minutes of the game. And you basically, that's the most exciting part. So I will turn on games when it's late in the game. But I have no reason, I feel there's no reason to sit there and watch a game that in the last 5 minutes, it's going to be within a couple points of each other. And
yeah, I have the same thing with basketball. And yeah, because football, it's more of a taking an early lead than you have an early lead. But in basketball, where it's just so back and forth, I feel like you only need the last quarter to actually understand the game.
Yep, I agree. So I love playoff basketball. I'll watch playoff basketball, especially when the Celtics are in it. But usually I won't watch the whole game. I'll just turn it on for the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I love comebacks. I love the back and forth flow, the battle. Especially when there's an intense rivalry and you watch a game from the start, you want to see your team come out hot and do well. And I get excited right from the opening tip. I do. Moving on, I play fantasy football. I won my first week in fantasy. Now, this is a different type of league. It is week 1, year 1 of a dynasty league where we're going to have 10 keepers. It might sound a lot to you guys, but we play with IDPs. So instead of just having team defenses, which we do have, we play with linebackers, defensive linemen, defensive backs. A lot of people have had injuries. I actually had an injury to my third wide receiver. I didn't even realize he was down. He's now on IR for the season. That's Allen Robinson.
Ooh,
but it doesn't even affect me because I have Julio Jones and Antonio Brown as my starting wide receivers. So it's what do I care?
How did you get that team? Is there 2 people in the league?
I have no idea. No, it's a 10-team league, and I got Antonio Brown and Julio Jones with the 10 and 11 spot.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man.
I've been wanting to do a defensive players league, but I haven't gotten to do one yet, so that sounds like fun.
It is. It is a lot of fun. Actually, that is the league that I'm most comfortable with, the most familiar with since I've started playing fantasy football. That is the type of league I've been in for over 10 years now.
Would you call it an IDP?
IDP.
Yeah, I've never...
Individual defensive player.
Yeah, I've never played one of those leagues.
Oh, I like it. I recommend it. You should try it. Give it a shot. Lastly, I almost lost my grandmother to a cow attack.
A cow attack.
What?
A cow attack, yeah. We were on a family trip, and a friend took us to pet some cows that are getting integrated into being with people. They're trying to make them more friendly. So we went to see these cows. Now, my grandmother is 85 years old. She walks with a cane. Love my grandmother. She's great. She grew up on a farm. Wanted to pet the cow. But you got to understand, like I said, she's 85 years old, walks with a cane. When she's walking, even when she's standing, she looks like she's trying to stand up in a canoe, if you know what I mean, unsteady ground all the time. So she walks up to this cow, and she goes like she's going to pet, and the cow bucks at her, jumps, throws its head up, doesn't care that she's an old lady because it doesn't matter to the cow. So at this point, I'm running over to my grandmother because I think she's about to fall down dead, and she doesn't. And she goes back again. She goes back to try to pet this cow again, and the cow does the same thing, bucks, and it's like, okay, time to go. But I couldn't believe it. It was the most surreal experience I've ever had because you don't expect people to lunge at your grandmother, but an animal? Oh, I felt so guilty.
Were you going to beat up that cow?
I had a mind to, believe me.
I just had him for dinner tonight, so I mean, you're all set.
Yeah, revenge.
Yeah. So that was my week. And then I have a great quote from her because do you guys remember, Chase, maybe you're a little too young for this, but at Friendly's they used to have those peg games where there's a bunch of holes in a board and a lot of pegs in it with one hole left, and you're supposed to use a peg to hop over a peg and remove a piece until you're down to the last peg. Do you remember those?
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah, they have those at Cracker Barrel.
Yeah.
Okay, Cracker Barrel. Great. Cracker Barrel Friendlies. So my grandmother was playing one of those, got down to the last peg, and she tells my sister, she goes, I get down to this last peg, and I can't get it off the board. I'm not very good at this. It just cracks
I think
me
she
up.
missed the point.
I guess so. So that was my week, and that's my family. I love them to death.
Nice. I think we came up with the name for this episode. It'll have to be something about cow tipping or something. I don't know. So what else, you guys? Is that it?
That's it. I'm done.
Awesome. What about you, Chase?
I guess I can just keep on the point of fantasy. I'm in a couple of leagues this year. I won 2 of my games, lost another, and the one that I lost hard. Like I got destroyed by the kid I'm playing against. So that's not a great start, especially when that's a league that I went undefeated in last year, which was my first ever fantasy season.
You went undefeated?
In my first fantasy season, yep.
Wow, that's
Won
pretty
every
tough.
single game. Yeah. So that was fun. That's what got me to play in more leagues this year, because I originally wasn't going to play in any, and then I won. I'm like, you know what, I'll try. So so that's going good. I finished rewatching a TV show called Limitless. It's a fantastic TV show. It's on Netflix. Probably my second favorite TV show of all time, behind Psych, which I think Josh is stupid for because he's never heard of Psych.
I've heard of Limitless, though.
It's good that you've heard of Limitless, because that reminds me of a combination of like Psych and Chuck. Two really great shows.
Oh, Sarah really likes Chuck.
I've heard of Chuck.
That's
I haven't
good.
seen Chuck, but
Oh my goodness! Wow. Yep. And then right before this podcast, I finished watching an episode of The Grand Tour, which is Top Gear, even though it's not called Top Gear anymore. And that's such a funny show. It's so great. And then I've been playing a bunch of games. I have played Madden 18. I'm more on the Josh side of things. I didn't really like the long shot story mode.
Thank you.
I know that Jared did, but if I wanted to watch a TV show, I would turn on the TV. I don't want to have to make decisions. I don't want to have to make decisions in my TV show. And then other than that, it plays the same as every other Madden game that has ever existed. I do like having the updated rosters, though. That's fun. Getting to play around with all the rookies and build dream teams and everything. So that's good.
I was talking to Jared the other day, and I asked him, because I'm really bad at Madden. I'm terrible. And I thought maybe the reason I got drafted where I did in that long shot was because of how terrible I was at playing it. But apparently, because Jared said he did pretty good, but he got drafted in the same spot. So it doesn't sound like it really matters what you do.
You get drafted in the last round?
Yeah. So and the only difference, I think, and spoiler alert if you haven't played this game and if you don't want it to be ruined, but when they ask you, at one point someone asked you, I can't remember who it was, they ask you what your favorite team is.
Yep.
Who'd you say?
I said the Cowboys because that's what the kids were playing as in the beginning of the game.
Oh, you said I said the Patriots. So when it came down to the end, your buddy Colt, for me anyways, got drafted by the Jets. And
Colt didn't get drafted in mine.
Really?
No.
Wow, he got drafted in mine ahead of me.
Wow.
And he got drafted by the Jets, and I got when the draft ends and you get nothing, and then your phone rings, you end up getting an offer. It was the Patriots. I had a choice. I could go to the Patriots, which was the team I said was my favorite, or I could have went to the Jets. And I said I'd still stick with the Patriots. And then you get the chance to like tell Colt, and you can lie to him or not. Like tell him, oh, it was this other team, or you can just say, no, it was the Jets, but I felt like I wanted to go with the Patriots. And he kind of gets a little miffed at you, like, wait, we could have been together, but I'm like, get over it.
Yeah, see, I didn't get that choice in mine.
Well, that's because he's not your real friend.
Yeah. In mine, Colt ends up becoming a country folk singer.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because he didn't get drafted. Instead, it's like, oh, he stays in shape just in case the NFL comes calling. Huh. But no, I got drafted by the Cowboys as like a fourth-string quarterback because they have Dak Prescott, so why would they need Devin Wade? So...
Yeah, well, okay, come on, but they fell into Dak Prescott. It's not like they were planning on having him as their franchise quarterback.
No, but they lucked out hard. But I don't think they're going to need to draft another quarterback prospect for a long time now.
Yeah, well, we'll see what he does this year, but he did pretty good last week.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
I picked him up for my fantasy league. That's who my QB is.
Yep. Yeah, I have him and Marcus Mariota in a league, so that's fun.
So this is what I'll say about as far as getting drafted high or drafted at all. I haven't played any of the career modes in Madden, but with 2K, when they started doing the career mode, you couldn't get drafted first. I don't even know if you could get drafted in the top 10. So I think it's something in the game where it prevents you from doing that. And I don't know if it's changed in 2K. I don't know if it's going to change in Madden, but for whatever reason, they don't allow you to get top billing. Don't allow you to get drafted first or even high.
Yeah, so I know for sure in older Maddens, I don't know why they went away from this, but there was a a Road to Hall of Fame game mode, and that was kind of like the story mode where you could create your player, and then you could set their stats, and depending on how well your stats work out would depend on where you're drafted. You could choose to be drafted by your favorite team or not, and if you choose not to be drafted by your favorite team, it's just a random team at a random spot in the draft. And that honestly, that one was more fun because you actually got to like participate in the combine and all that, and kind of build up your player. But then in this, it's like you don't really get to do any of that anymore.
Yeah, and the parts that you do play, it wasn't, to me anyways, it didn't feel like playing a real Madden game.
No, not at all.
So it was, I don't know. Like, did you see the part where the coach starts yelling at you all those phrases and you had to remember them?
My goodness, I was terrible at that part. I'm usually pretty good at that kind of thing. And then I'm like, wait, did he say X or Z or Y? Which one? That didn't. The coach got mad at me a couple times.
Yeah, I'm just glad to know though that it didn't change that dramatically from whether you did everything right or you did everything wrong. Because I think I did everything wrong.
It's honestly kind of surprising and kind of boring then, because I'm like, now there's not much repeatability. Like, I've heard that Colt can get drafted, which would be nice, but there's not that much replayability of the game, and especially because it takes so long with so little involvement. I don't think that I'm gonna end up playing it again.
Yeah.
Hey, do you know if where you got drafted messed with the rest of the draft order? Because for 2K, now that I'm remembering this, I could get drafted in a certain spot, but the person who actually got drafted in that spot still went to that team, and it didn't mess up the draft order afterwards. So I'm wondering if that kind of plays into it, where they're not doing a like RNG kind of deal where it might mess with the draft order of players and they might not wind up on the same team. Do you know if that happened with Madden?
So for me, and I don't know, maybe it was different for you, Chase, I did not get drafted. And
I did get drafted. I got drafted in the 7th round.
You did? Okay.
Yep, I got drafted like 3 picks from the end.
Okay. I did not get drafted. And then after the draft, Devin Wade has like a little hissy fit. He goes outside and he's like sitting on the steps and his phone rings and he's like, it was Dan Marino. And he's like, hey, I know you didn't get drafted, but there's 2 teams that are interested in you. It's the Patriots and the Jets. So I guess it can affect it because I didn't get drafted.
Well, so what I'm thinking of, Kyle, is in Madden, there's still that you can create your own player and play through. It's sort of like the Road to Hall of Fame that I talked about in the older games, but it's a little bit different because you can just pick your team. You can pick whether you wanted to be a first-round pick or a late-round pick, and it all kind of messes with the development of your player. But in that, I don't think it messes up anything because I chose a cornerback drafted by the Cowboys for one of them, and so I was one of their first-round picks, but they still drafted Zeke Elliott. And the position that I was drafted instead of the 10th pick, that 10th pick still went to whatever the team that had the 10th pick was.
Yeah, see, I don't like that.
It should mess with things. That's how it works. But
for me, I don't want, and this is for me going back to 2K, but I don't even know who's drafted with the first pick this year in the NFL.
In the NFL this year, Myles Garrett.
Okay, Myles Garrett. So I would want, if I say I'm a cornerback in the NFL, I want Kyle Freierhofer to go first, and Myles Garrett can go second. I don't care. I don't want the Cowboys to get, or whoever had the first pick,
Browns,
to get 2 first-round picks. I don't like that. I want to see more realistic drafting from the My series, the My Career series. I think it's just that EA isn't smart enough to kind of code something like that into the game, and to think about how it would mess up the rest of the league. Like, if Myles Garrett was pushed to pick number 2, Solomon Thomas would have gone number 3. All these things, Mitchell Trubisky is who knows where now. He might not be with the Bears, he'd be with, the Saints. Great, I want to see that. If they're not smart enough to do it, then why are they making video games?
Fair enough.
I'm saying that knowing I do not work in that industry, and I have nowhere close to that type of job.
So you got anything else, Chase?
Nope. Nothing else good.
So tell me about Limitless, though, because I watched that movie, and for me it was so boring. Is it anything like the movie?
I think it's better.
So you like the series?
I've never seen the movie.
Oh, really?
I've never seen the TV show, and the TV show is fantastic.
I like the show. I watched. I think it got canceled after the first season.
It did, which sucks.
Yeah. I watched the whole first season, and I thought it was pretty good. It was different than the movie, though. The character that they follow, I think, is a more likable character than the character in the movie. I found him more likable.
Some of the other kids who I've...
Yeah, don't ask me anything about the movie. I couldn't tell you. I think I texted or what. I probably watched another movie on my phone through the whole thing.
Yeah, it was.
I actually didn't mind the movie, but I thought the ending was kind of gross. He gets into like a gunfight with the guys. They're on some kind of drug. I forget what they call it.
NZT?
NZT, yeah. So he's out of NZT, and he gets into this gunfight with these guys at the end, and they're on NZT, and one of them is bleeding. So like because he's out, he like licks up the blood so that he gets NZT in his system, and then
That's
can
weird.
like beat them. Yeah,
That was gross.
yeah.
I don't like that.
I don't remember that at all.
I thought that was gross. I did think the show was good. I thought it was going to be around for another season, but they canceled it. So
I honestly, I wish that they would bring it back.
All right. So the past week, I've been kind of busy, so I don't have a ton of stuff. But and Luke's not even here to hear this, but maybe he'll listen to this episode and he'll say something to me. But I finished the first season of My Hero Academia. I don't know. Are you Chase? Are you an anime guy? Do you like anime at all?
No. No. No.
So I like anime, and Luke likes anime a lot. So he recommended this series a couple weeks back. Last week I kind of made fun of it, but I ended up finishing the first season, and I actually kind of ended up liking it quite a bit, even though I poked fun of it last week. I did enjoy it, and I'm waiting for the second season is being released now. It's not completely out. And I like to listen to my anime or watch my anime dubbed. I don't like the subtitles. I like just having it dubbed. But the second season, what they've got so far, they have not dubbed it. So I'm gonna wait till they do. But I did end up liking it. So if you're an anime fan and you haven't checked out My Hero Academia, you might want to check it out. Like I said, I think it takes a couple episodes to get into, but in the end, I did end up liking it. Then I watched. Oops, sorry. Yep.
So I honestly. This doesn't interest me at all. I would probably look it up and watch it now that you say you liked it. But I just want to say for our listeners, if there's anyone that really likes anime and wants to hear the rest of the conversation that Luke and Josh had last week, it was over an hour long just on that subject. And if you really want to hear what they had to say, if you want to hear all that they had to say on that, send me an email at Geek-Cetera Network at gmail.com, and I'll put something together for you and send it. So you can have that whole piece of the puzzle that wasn't there.
Yeah, we did go on a little long last week. Sorry about that. But that's the way it is, especially when you're geeking out on something. So, and I'm not going to get too much into this because I think you're going to touch on this, Kyle. But I watched the pilot for the Orville, and I thought it was okay. It got a little crass at times, some of the humor and stuff like that. But I'm going to give it a shot and see how it goes. I'll watch, a couple more episodes. It just the newest episode. This is Wednesday, the 12th,
13th,
13th today.
Yep,
Wednesday the 13th.
Chase is right.
So I think it was on Sunday that it released. So I'll watch it a couple episodes anyways to see where it goes. But I did enjoy it. It made me laugh a little bit, but we'll see how I kind of from the first season. Or first episode, it made me think this probably going to get canned like everything else gets canned, but we'll see.
Oh, yeah, it's going to get canned, but we'll talk about that later.
And then I listened to a lot more of Star Wars Aftermath Life Debt. I probably only have a few hours left, and I probably will finish it before we record again. I'm actually thinking I might finish it tomorrow or Friday, as I got a lot of work to do, and I'll be listening to it a lot. So I am enjoying that book. If you liked, like I said last week, the Aftermath series, then I would check it out for sure. And then we were talking about fantasy football, so I figured I'd add in that I lost my first week of fantasy football. It was a close game, though. It was 69-65, which is very close. And I was bad. Luckily, I was playing someone equally as bad.
My special teams outscored you.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, you're in a different league.
I got 79 points with the Jaguars.
Yeah. I know you're in a different league and you score it differently. Like our top scores this week were 100.
Wow.
So it's not. Yeah.
I scored like 170.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It's just the way they score our league. It's not that. I just made some really dumb decisions, thinking that the Patriots were going to be awesome this year, and they really let me down.
Oh yeah, they let me down in my loss too. So.
Yeah. So I had Tyreek Hill who was playing the Patriots, and I'm like, I'm not going to play someone who's playing the Patriots. Well, that was stupid. Instead, I played Chris Hogan, who got me a point.
Yep.
And Tyreek Hill got 19 points. So,
See, I was fortunate because I played Kareem Hunt, because I love the Patriots to death, but I know that they suck against running backs. They are terrible. They have never had a good run-stopping defense.
Yeah.
And Tyreek Hill in our league put up 45 points.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
I think in our league,
thing is, I also started Chris Hogan, who got me nothing, so it kind of balances out at the end.
Yeah. So, this week I'm going to adjust things and hopefully do a little better. Sit all my Patriots, except for Gronk, because he's the only one I really have to play. I ended up with James White, Chris Hogan, and Gronk. And I would have been better off playing James White. He got like 6 points. Oh, well. But that's all I had for this week. That concludes this segment. So let's move on. But before we do, let's get a word from our sponsor.
This segment is brought to you by Freihofer Septic Design, the name to know before you go. Call now. Dial 603-209-1221 to make your business our business.
In our next segment, which we call Fan Theories That Would Break the Geekverse, we discuss theories that we can't get enough of. And we're going to start with you, Kyle. What do you have for us?
All right. So, listeners, who of you cried during Toy Story 3? If you're saying not me, you're lying.
What?
I didn't.
I did not.
Are you serious?
My sister was sitting next to me in tears, but I was just like, meh.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. If you didn't cry, you're lying and you have no soul. Sorry. I should have put that in there. You're telling me you really didn't cry?
I did not.
This should not be a spoiler, but they're at the what is it? The junkyard, and they're all going into the fiery pit of doom, and they're all holding hands.
Yep.
Really?
I didn't cry.
Really?
Not even remotely.
Absolutely no soul.
I laughed.
You did not laugh. You're a liar. Oh my gosh.
I thought they were going to get what they deserve.
So one of the greatest questions that has ever come out of Toy Story is what happened to Andy's dad. I'm here with a theory. It has been presented as rumor. It's been presented as fact. I'm going to present it as a theory. This comes from Super Carlin Brothers, my absolute favorite YouTube channel right now, and probably that will continue. I just love those guys. This is a shameless plug, and I am a fanboy for Super Carlin Brothers. But they conducted an extensive live stream interview with Mike Mozart, who's a well-respected toy reviewer, and he's actually friends with the late Joe Ranft. Ranft? R-A-N-F-T. He was one of the writers on Toy Story, and many of the theories are around, there was a divorce, maybe he was a deadbeat dad. No, Andy's dad from Toy Story is dead, says Mike Mozart.
What happened to him?
Well, I do have to say, before I get into that, this theory has been called fake news by another Toy Story writer. His name is Andrew Stanton, but I like this story and I'm buying it as fact. So what happened, Ranft allegedly told Mozart that Andy's dad won Woody from writing into a cereal contest. There was actually only one Woody doll made. And that's why he's so rare in Toy Story 2, if you guys remember that.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay. Andy's dad won him out of the kindness of a secretary who found a letter he wrote. So the story goes that, and this was more popular back in the 60s and 70s where Andy's dad would have grown up. The story goes that there was a cereal contest where you collect so many box tops or whatever, you send them in, and they're going to send you the Woody toy. Well, Andy's dad, they didn't have a ton of money. They were so poor that he maybe had a couple box tops. I don't remember off the top of my head, but he sent in a letter that said, I'm Woody's basic fan. I'm Woody's biggest fan.
There you go.
Basically. Thank you. and this whole basically heart-wrenching story that made the secretary send the doll. And why this is important is because they stopped the contest. Woody's Roundup was not as popular. There were a lot of space toys. coming on the scene that took away the popularity from Woody's Roundup. So they only had one Woody toy that was a prototype. And they weren't going to send the Woody doll at all. They were told, this secretary or whoever, she was told to destroy the doll. But instead, she found Andy's dad's letter and said, this kid deserves this Woody toy, and sent it to Andy's father.
Wow. See, now I'm crying a little.
So that's how they got the toy. Now, Andy's dad, he had polio when he was a kid. So as a result, a couple of years later, all his toys had to be burned in order to protect himself and other people from the polio virus. But before his family was able to destroy Woody, kill him, Andy's dad was able to save Woody from being destroyed. And he eventually got better. He led a long life, and he had a family, and we see this family in Toy Story. I'm going to call it Episode 1. But Toy Story, the original Toy Story.
Are you hinting at a prequel?
What's that?
Are you hinting at a prequel for Toy Story?
No, I don't think they'd ever do this prequel. Like I said, some of the other Toy Story writers have said this is a bunch of bunk. Another thing that I will say, and this was part of the video, was that Mike Mozart was a consultant for the original Toy Story. Mm-hmm. They were trying to figure out, I think it was for Toy Story 2, in fact, why... No, I'm getting this wrong. I should rewatch the video, but I want to say he was a consult for Toy Story, trying to figure out how the Woody doll in Episode 2 would be so popular and so rare enough for Al from Al's Toy Barn to steal Woody. So a lot of this theory comes from things that Mike Mozart told Ramft in order to make Toy Story 2 happen. Where was I? He burned all his toys. Oh, the prequel thing. The prequel thing's not happening. So anyways, Andy Sr., he got better. He had a family, and the family moved into Andy from the movies' grandparents' house, because Andy Sr. eventually, he got post-polio disease, so he was taken care of. And actually, the pictures that we see on the wall in the home in the first Toy Story movie are of Andy Sr. and not Andy. So we people have been wondering, well, where's Andy's father? There's all these pictures of Andy. No, that's Andy's dad. And Andy's father had put all his toys away, his old toys away, and while on his deathbed, Andy Sr. gave his son a key to a chest being kept in the attic, and in the chest were a few of his favorite toys, including that Woody doll. And now he continues to live with Andy. The toys don't realize that Andy Jr. isn't the same boy as Andy Sr., who's now dying, but they do get to love and cherish the human kid that they're in the arms of now, Andy. So the Andy on Woody's foot, that's Andy Sr.
Huh. Interesting.
I love this theory. I think it's great. I think it's really well-rounded, and it definitely tugs at the heartstrings. Disney loves to kill off parents. They don't like deadbeat parents. But for all-around better storytelling, just please check out the video put out by Super Carlin Brothers on their YouTube page. It's great. It was gripping. That was one of my favorite videos that they have put out, period. And I love this theory. I don't care that somebody else who was a writer called this fake news. Yeah,
I like that. I like it better than the divorce idea. What do you think, Chase?
Yeah.
I'm with it. I've heard that theory before. There are parts of it that I'm just like, okay, sure, you can pull that out of thin air if you want to. But overall, I agree with you. It's better than just, oh yeah, he doesn't exist because they got a divorce.
Right. And maybe we will get a prequel from it. You never know.
Oh, Disney loves to make money wherever they can. So if they think they can milk a prequel out of it, they will.
Yeah, absolutely. Can you think of all the old vintage games, like from Andy's dad's time period, that they could bring in to be characters and stuff? I'm sure they'd have a ton of stuff, toys and games and stuff. So very good. Well, that wraps up this segment, and we hope you liked our theories. But now on to the next.
Breaking news. I'm not sure if anybody else was paying attention to that last segment, but I was the only one who had a theory.
I had a theory. It's just that Josh forgot it.
Did I put that you had nothing?
No, because then we talked about the theory that I had about Captain Phasma.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that. Okay, let's back up. Chase, do you have a theory?
I do have a theory, Josh. It's one that I heard and that I really like, and I think plays a little bit off of what we've seen in Star Wars Rebels, the TV series, that Captain Phasma is actually part of the Resistance.
No.
That she's not... Shut up, Kyle. That she's not actually just a full-blooded First Order Imperialite. That's the reason that I like that, is because, spoiler alert, they did just do the same thing in Star Wars Rebels, where Agent Callus...
Mm-hmm. I like
Callus,
this.
Really?
Agent Callus is Fulcrum, and he's been secretly helping the rebellion while holding up a front with the Empire. So that way he kind of has behind-the-scenes access and everything. I think that would provide a good explanation as to why Captain Phasma was completely useless in Episode 7, why she just turned down everything and blah, blah, blah. Because otherwise there's no excuse when they claim that we're going to have this awesome epic character who literally just... They point a gun at her, and she's like, "Okay, I'll do what you want."
Yeah.
And it was just a pushover.
So
that's why I like this theory.
I like this theory. I've liked it for a while, and like I said, I've been listening to Star Wars Aftermath and Life Debt, which is the second one in the Aftermath series. And Kyle, obviously, well, spoiler alert for anyone out there that I'm gonna spoil some stuff right now. Kyle, you've read the Aftermath series. And the whole first episode, or first book, that they're being fed information from who they call the investigator or something like that.
Inquisitor?
No, it wasn't Inquisitor.
No, I don't know because I haven't.
And who did that end up being?
Gallus Rax.
Inside, I thought it was. Wasn't it Sloane?
Gallus Rax. No.
Oh, well then you just spoiled it for me.
Why are you asking me this then?
Because, Sloane reaches out to them and says that it's been her. But was she faking and it was actually Gallus Rax?
I can't tell you.
I know none of these characters.
But still,
Yes.
It doesn't matter if it's Sloane or Gallus Rax. It ends up being someone from the Emperor is a turncoat. So we get that in Aftermath. Then we have it in Rebels. Why can't we have it in this new trilogy?
I think my only thing would be against her having it in the new trilogy is just that it is just too common, or it's too expected for them to do it. That would be my only theory against it.
So here's my thing against it. And Josh, the Aftermath thing is completely different, and I would encourage you to keep on reading. My thing against having Phasma be a spy is there's no reason for it. Unless they're going to pull off her helmet and show her as a character that we already know, there's no motivation for Phasma to be a spy.
Padme didn't actually die. She just became Captain Phasma.
Fine.
She's like 90 years old. And
Padme is still alive and she's Captain Phasma. That'd be terrible, but it'd be great movies. So, whatever. Anyways, Star Wars doesn't do flashbacks. We're not going to jump through time and see Phasma's motivations. So if she's already a turncoat, it just doesn't make sense. We don't see her character evolution. We don't see her motivations for being a rebel. With Agent Callus, we saw that transformation. There was a turning point episode with him and Zeb being trapped and working together, and he had a realization. He got to know a rebel better, and we see that motivation. There's no motivation for Phasma that we see to be a spy unless she's a character that we already know from episode 4, 5, or 6, or Padme.
If it's Padme, I'm going to stop watching Star Wars.
Yeah, it's not Padme. Padme's dead. But I think that if Phasma is not a spy, she is the most hyped lame character ever. Because they hyped her like crazy. They gave her all this really cool armor, and she's super cool, and they gave her a pretty good, a fairly well-known actress to play her. And then she just stinks. She doesn't do anything.
Exactly.
And she had an inkling that something was going on with Finn and didn't do anything about it.
Yeah.
She inspected his weapon and knew that he had fired no shots.
So here's the thing. Phasma is coming back in episode 8. I think that she's going to have a much better story in episode 8. She's going to be not an Empire, a First Order agent, and she's going to kick some butt. Have you read or listened to all the Phasma book, Josh, or even Chase?
Nope.
I haven't started it yet.
It's very good. I'm only 4 hours into it. It's a 12-hour book, but you're getting a lot of backstory. I really like her, and what I've heard so far doesn't lead me to believe that she is the kind of character that would turn coat. She's very much about saving her own skin and grabbing power by the throat and hanging on and taking it. So I don't see any reason why she would give up the power that she has, being Captain Phasma, to support the resistance. I don't see it.
Oh yeah, I think it's gonna happen.
I hope so.
Yeah.
It's the only thing that makes sense, honestly, in that situation.
We'll see, and we'll be watching it together, Kyle. Maybe when it happens, and I'll look at you and I'll laugh and point and maybe call you some names.
Yeah, we're gonna have to get tickets. We're gonna have to go as a Geek-Cetera team.
Yeah, I think so. I agree. Is that all you got, Chase?
Yeah, that's all I have.
Okay. Well, that wraps up this segment, and we hope you liked our theories. Let's move on, but before we do, let's get a word from our sponsor.
This segment is brought to you by Preventure Service Company. Got a major renovation you need done? Armin's been doing it all since 1981. For fast and friendly service, contact Preventure at gsinet.net.
Our next segment, which is news and rumors that make you squirm, where we talk about some geeky news and rumors that we dug up in the past week. And what did you find for us, Kyle?
I'm bringing this up when Luke's not here. I just don't want to hear him again. He just doesn't get sarcasm. But a mod was created by the individuals Kays Emanuar, Melon Speedruns, and Marshavolt to play Super Mario 64 online as a multiplayer experience.
Interesting.
That sounds fun, honestly.
Yeah, I've only played Super Mario 64 once. It was okay, but I'm so far past the time when that was a cool game that I don't care. But I thought Luke would like this. It's built on a Super Mario 64 ROM for PCs. It includes 24 playable characters, including Waluigi and Wario, among others, and I don't think they were around when Super Mario 64 was originally created, so I think that's kind of cool. The multiplayer activities, they include racing, fighting, and hide and seek. And I think hide and seek might be a Luke favorite, perhaps.
Okay.
I don't know why, but he seems like the kind of kid that would love to play hide and seek.
Is that because that's what he's been doing with the podcast for a while?
Probably.
Sometimes he's available, sometimes he's not.
Yeah, it's like, hey, can you find me? I'm Luke. Oh, I hate everything. God. So again, this isn't something that interests me, but for anyone experiencing N64 nostalgia, and God knows why, but I know people are, and they're looking forward to it being resold, this may be something you'll want to check out.
Yeah, that actually sounds kind of cool. I don't know that I'll get it, but it interests me.
Yeah, so it's the new Mario Party 64.
That's what I was going to say. It sounds like a lot like Mario Party. Or they could even do it in the style of like Super Mario Bros. Where you can play with your friends, but just do it in a kind of 3D world. I think that'd be fun.
I do remember the first Mario Party commercial when it came out, and you had like Pikachu and Mario and some other characters running, and all of a sudden somebody trips Pikachu and they start fighting. It was great. I love that.
Isn't that Smash Brothers?
That sounds more like Smash.
I remember the first Smash Brothers commercial when it came out, and it was just Pikachu and whatever.
I'm like, wait a minute, Mario Party.
All right, so moving on, I have some other news. There are leaked details from the Star Wars Battlefront 2 beta. There are some maps that were revealed. They include ground battles on Theed and Takodana, and starfighter battles above Fondor. Now, for those people that don't know, Theed is the capital city of Naboo, while Fondor was associated with the Separatists, the Techno Union. So these are links to the prequels that weren't made in the previous Battlefront, or at least the Battlefront that was released on PS4.
Cool.
And yeah, I'm excited.
I'm looking forward to Theed, for sure. I mean, that'd be cool.
This is probably going to be a really beautiful map, too.
Yeah.
I have fond memories of playing the Episode 1, whatever, story mode, the playthrough game that they created for the PlayStation, and playing in Theed. That was a lot of fun. Also, Takodana was the planet where Maz Kanata's castle was located. And if you'll remember, for Battlefront, they wouldn't let us do anything with Episode 7, anything with the new movies. So to have them include the prequels and the new movies, I'm pumped.
No, I agree.
And then another link to the prequels, we're going to see the LAAT, the Low Altitude Assault Transport. If you remember, that's what the clones used in the Clone Wars. We first saw that in Star Wars Episode 2. So another link to the prequels.
Very good. So What do you have for us, Chase?
So, you guys can sue me because I didn't find it this week. It's actually going back to the San Diego Comic-Con.
Mm-hmm.
But Chuck, the TV show that we talked about earlier, there was an interview with Zachary Levi, who's also playing the villain in a new Psych movie. He wants to do a Chuck reunion movie, which I am totally down for. Thing is there's nothing actually, if you look on the internet, there's nothing anywhere about it. It's just, in the interviews that he talks about him wanting to do it, him finding a director to do it, and whatever, him being the producer, to kind of just do, I think he was thinking like a one-off Chuck movie, which I would be down for.
Mm-hmm.
Just to kind of see where all the characters have gone and what they've done after they left the series.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm sorry, I gotta pee. But that sounds good. Sarah loves Chuck.
I don't know enough about Chuck.
So there's, I think, 4-5 TV shows that, are at the top of my list. So it's Psych, Limitless, Chuck, White Collar, and Grand Tour / Top Gear. Those are my shows. Whenever I'd watch something, it's going to be one of those.
Not my Hero Academia.
No, never heard of it.
No, that's
except for this podcast. Yeah, and I've watched Star Wars Rebels, Star Wars Clone Wars, those kind of TV shows too. But I don't know, those other ones are by far my favorites. Those are the ones I've watched through the series 2 or 3 times, sometimes more.
I gotta check them out. I gotta check at least Psych out, and maybe Chuck as well. Do you think? I keep forgetting to look. I think someone said that they were on Hulu, or at least Psych was.
Psych, I don't know if it's on Hulu. I know that you can buy it on Amazon. Things is going to cost way too much money.
Yeah.
It's a fantastic show. I'm just not willing to pay $100 to own it.
Right, yeah, I don't blame you. Is that all you have, Chase?
Yeah, so I'm just hyped because I really hope that Zach Levi does actually get that rolling. He said that he will do it before he dies, so I just hope that he's actually true to his word.
Is he old?
He said in the interview.
Well, hopefully he doesn't live a long time.
He said in the interview, he's like, I don't care if I'm an 80-year-old Chuck saying I know Kung Fu. He's like, I'm going to do it. I'm like, okay. So I'll take it. If we get a Chuck movie, even if it's a one-off, then I'll be happy.
Well, that is good news for my wife and for my in-laws. I personally, and I've watched Chuck with them, I can't get into it. There's something about a tesseract or an intersect or something.
Intersect.
Yeah, so the tesseract is cool, but I'm
God,
not into that at all.
Go home.
So for me in the last week, I got some news that I was able to find. It's probably, my news isn't like I dug too hard, so
Yeah,
everyone might
got
have
this news.
Yeah, but episode 9 got a director. After it was announced that Colin Trevorrow, I think that's how you say his name, would not be directing the film, there was rumors of who was going to get it, who were they going to ask, and there was rumors whether it would be Rain Johnson, who's the one that's doing episode 8, or if it would have been Gareth Edwards, who did Rogue One, or J.J. Abrams. Well, the wait is over, and Disney announced that J.J. Abrams is the one that is going to be doing episode 9. And I thought it was pretty good news. I thought he did a really nice job with episode 7, and one of the things that really makes me excited about J.J. Abrams doing it is that he is at heart a Star Wars fan. So if someone is a Star Wars fan and they love it as much as the fans do, then they're going to treat the movie with care, and they're not going to break our hearts, hopefully. I thought it was a good thing, a good choice.
I like that just because of the way that he did episode 7, where he's just like, we're not doing CGI. He's like, anywhere that we can use a special effect, we're using a special effect. Like when Rey is being chased through Kylo on whatever that planet that Kyle said with Maz Kanata, and Rey's shooting and hits the wall next to him, and there's like that miniature explosion. That's an actual miniature explosion. They put a tiny amount of C4 and blew up that bit of rock.
Yeah.
They could have done a CGI and it would have looked the same, but it's that kind of thought that goes into it that I like about episode 7.
Yeah, me too. I agree. And I think it will be good.
Yeah, I loved episode 7. I thought it was great. And I think your cousin Chase said it was a greatest hits. And I agree. I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care how many callbacks they have to episode 4 in episode 7. I thought it was a great movie.
I was going to say, I think that's kind of important. You kind of want to draw back, especially because it was a long time in between. They're starting it after episode 6. So in between episode 6 and episode 7, that's a long gap to bridge. So I think making some of those callbacks kind of, get all the Star Wars fans back into it, kind of grab a new generation of Star Wars fans too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing, because I don't know how old I was. I was 10 or 11 when the new Star Wars started coming out, right? The prequels.
Mm-hmm.
Those were my Star Wars movies. I grew up on the older Star Wars movies, so the prequels were new for me, but my generation, those were our movies. So I actually like them a lot better than other people say. But this next series of movies is going to be this generation's Star Wars, so I don't care. I thought Star Wars Episode 7 was great.
Mm-hmm.
I thought J.J. Abrams did a great movie. That being said, I think this is a safer play for Disney, and I don't like that Disney is trying to play it safe. They, for whatever reasons, they pulled out of their agreement with the director for the Han Solo movie. Fine. I feel maybe they were trigger happy or gun shy or whatever with the director for Episode 9, Colin Trevorrow, and that's fine. And they were going to find a new director. Going back to J.J. Abrams, and he might do a good job, I think is playing it safe, and I don't want to see Disney hedging their bets.
Here's the thing, though. If they were obviously, with both the Han Solo and Episode 9, they realized that something was wrong. And instead of pushing through and trying to make it fit and make something work that maybe wasn't working, they said they had the ability or the wherewithal or whatever to say, no, we're not going to do that. We're going to change course, and we're going to get someone else in here who's going to give us the vision that we see. And I don't think that's necessarily safe, because I think it would be foolish if you knew something was going to come out not right and you went ahead and did it anyways.
I agree with that. And with Episode 7, J.J. Abrams came in and he had a vision, he had a goal from the get-go, and he wanted to do Star Wars. And he did an awesome job with Episode 7. He might do an awesome job with Episode 9, but he's not going to be committed to doing Star Wars movies in the future. And Disney wants to move forward. They're going to continue to make new movies in this franchise. What are they going to do if they have problems with directors in the future? Are they going to continue to come back to J.J. Abrams? Are they going to continue to try to make other directors come back when they weren't fully committed? And what are we going to get with those movies?
I suppose we'll have to see.
Yeah.
I don't think Episode 9 will be bad. I just think it sets a bad precedent.
I see what you're saying. I don't know that I agree per se that it sets a bad precedent. I think it shows that they really are taking it serious, though, that they're willing to let someone go who's worked a lot on a movie if they feel like it's not right.
Yep.
Fair enough, and I agree with that. I don't think that's bad.
So with that news of J.J. Abrams, we got, which I consider good news, we got some kind of bad news. We get the date for Episode 9, which initially had been that it was going to be in May of 2019, which would have been a year from the Han Solo movie, which we're getting in May 2018. But they pushed it back to December 2019. So December 20th, 2019. So it will be a year from, it will be 2 years from 8.
Yeah, that move done doesn't surprise me, honestly, because that's what they're doing right now. They have Episode 8 coming out 2 years from Episode 7. So I think it makes more sense to kind of keep Star Wars coming out, more or less every 2 years exactly, not a year and a half or whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm fine with that.
I feel like they had done that with Episode 8.
Yeah.
I feel like that had a May 2017 release date, and they pushed it
back.
Yeah,
it did. Yeah. I thought it was cool and it's still going to go this way. We're going to get Last Jedi Episode 8 in December, and then less than 6 months later, we're going to have a standalone. So that's cool. We're going to get 2 Star Wars movies in less than 6 months. I like that idea.
My heart can't take it.
The other news I got, this was all over the internet too, is that Joseph Gordon-Levitt is it was announced that he had a voiceover cameo in Star Wars The Last Jedi. They haven't really said who he's going to be or what he voiced, but just that we're going to hear Joseph Gordon-Levitt in Star Wars The Last Jedi.
Yeah, and if you remember, he played an alien in the TV series Third Rock from the Sun.
Yep.
So my guess is that he's going to just reprise his role in voice only.
Yeah, maybe.
That's a stupid thing. Don't even give me a maybe.
I don't know what he'll be doing. I wonder if we'll even know it's him.
Yeah, I wonder if that's kind of going to be the same James Bond kind of thing, where they had James Bond there, but he had no impact on the role. They just he was a name to throw on the list of characters.
Yeah, and it's just, I think a lot of these actors who grew up loving Star Wars, they're just like, when they hear there's a Star Wars movie, like, how can I get in it? I'll do whatever, whatever is available. If I was an actor and I was someone somewhat famous and I had the opportunity to do anything in Star Wars, even if no one knew it was me, I'd be like, yeah, sign me up. I'll do it for free.
Yeah, I'd play a Twilight dancer. At that point, I don't care.
Yeah, you were doing that the other night when I was at your house. I saw you. You were playing a Twilight dancer. In your wife's t-shirt you had on, and
oh yeah,
What happens when Kyle has one too many beers?
That. Yeah, it was odd. So your mom's gonna call you and be like, "What's going on? Why are you wearing your wife's clothes?"
Where's the video of this?
No video.
Yeah, I didn't think about taking video. I just felt odd and like it was time to go home. Oh, fun times at Kyle's house. But anyways, other news that I got that was Star Wars related was just released. I actually got it from the Star Wars show, which came out today. Star Wars Canto Bight was announced, which, if you know anything about Last Jedi, Canto Bight is going to be the planet on which they're on when they're in that casino.
Oh, right.
So that's the name of it, Canto Bight. So it's a series of short stories that have to do with the people who work and frequent that casino on Canto Bight. It's coming out on December 5th, 2017, so just a couple weeks before Last Jedi actually comes out in the theaters. We're getting a book on Canto Bight. That's the news and rumors that we found this week, but let's keep moving. But first, a word from our sponsors.
This segment is brought to you by Geek-Cetera. We want to know, what do you do with old comic books?
Hey guys, this is SuperFriendly, live at GraniteCon with Morgan Kittleson from Comic Books Care, and he's just going to give us a little 30-second to a minute on what he does, and we think it's really cool.
Hey guys, my name is Morgan. I'm actually the founder, CEO, head marketing monkey, just about everything for Comic Books Care. So Comic Books Care is the idea of like you, someone you know, maybe even someone else knows, that you have extra comic books or extra manga that you don't need. So what you do is you donate them to the nonprofit, and from there we sort them for quality and content and give them to kids at children's hospitals and family centers. And by quality and content, I mean we're not going to give Deadpool to a 4-year-old, or if it kind of smells like cat pee, well, thank you for the donation and politely get it away. So yeah, that's what we're all about. Feel free to, we're on comicbookscare.com, actually, and .org and .net. And we're on Facebook at facebook.com/comicbookscare. So thank you, and please, the more books for the kids, the better it is.
Thank you so much, Morgan.
All right, now we'll move on to Tractor Beam trailers, where we talk about different trailers that we saw in the past week and that we're looking forward to either playing or seeing when they come out. And we'll start with you, Chase. What do you have?
Mine, again, it's going back to San Diego Comic-Con because you didn't do a good enough job. The Psych movie trailer. There's now 2 teaser trailers. Both of them are absolutely hilarious, and they tell you nothing about the movie at all. Basically what it is, it's just getting all the fans reintroduced to the idea of having Sean and Gus back. So it's the entire thing is a fourth wall break. It's hilarious.
The interview?
Yeah.
Yeah,
well,
that was funny.
they have they have 2 teaser trailers up. The newest one is more announcing that the movie is going to be back on, was it ABC? Yeah, I think it's ABC. Whatever station it's on. It's just, they poke fun at Donald Trump. They poke fun at, whatever they can. It's basically it's Sean and Gus. You can tell. It's not James Roday and Dule Hill. It's Sean and Gus, and it's fantastic. It's completely gotten me hype for the movie. Can't wait for it to come out. And then, there's the rumors of having 4 or 5 other ones in production that are, either completely written or more than half written, that they're going to try and do either every year or every other year. So as a major Psych fan, that has got me very excited.
Cool.
Man, I don't know about maybe every other year, every couple of years.
See, but they've been off this show for a long time. But if they do like 1 episode a year, that's all it would be. It'd be like a 2-hour episode. It'd be like watching Sherlock.
That's what I was
You get
thinking,
this
too.
nice thing, but you rarely get it.
All right, that'd be cool.
But I think once a year is still rare enough for it to, have interest in them to come up with interesting stories. And that way, it's not just you fast forward 10 years and by the way, Sean and Juliet have a kid and now he's 7. Like, what? That's why I think, every year, maybe even every other year, but do it semi-recent. Don't put a 7-year hiatus in between each episode.
Or they could be like the Rocky movies where there are huge hiatuses.
I think that would just make people more annoyed than anything.
All right. Is that all you had, Chase?
That is all I had.
What about you, Mr. Super Friendly?
All right. Well, Josh, you brought it up earlier, but I'm going to talk about the TV show The Orville. I'm going to abandon the whole trailer motif that we've been doing because fall TV has started to drop. So instead of talking about trailers, we got a lot of shows that are going to drop. We got new seasons, we got new TV shows, and that's what I want to talk about in this segment. So that's what I'm going to do.
I like it. Let's talk about it.
All right. So I know you thought it was a little crass, and I can think of one scene that was crass. I agree with you there. Other than that, it was pretty flat. And first of all, I was a huge fan of Galaxy Quest. I thought that was a great movie. Tim Allen, Sigourney Weaver.
It wasn't Galaxy Quest.
It was not Galaxy Quest. And I think Galaxy Quest worked great as a movie. And that was my feeling going into The Orville, was that this idea goes great as a movie, and it's not going to do really well as a TV show. Last season, we had a show that was very similar in that it was going to a target audience, and that was Powerless. It starred Alan Tudyk and Vanessa Hudgens. Also had that kid who played, he's not a kid, Abed. He played Abed in Community.
Oh, yeah, Danny Pudi.
Yeah, Danny Pudi. So that was a really good cast, but the premise was very, is it niche or niche?
Niche.
I've heard it both ways.
It was very niche in that it was a comedy based in the DC universe, and there were references you just had to get, and I don't think I think that's why it got canceled after one season, and I think this is going to happen with The Orville, where Galaxy Quest worked great as a movie. The Orville may have been good as a movie, but not as a TV series that's going to run for seasons and seasons. I think the jokes are going to fall flat. I don't think the story's going to pick up because it's going to be more focused on the comedy, which isn't very good, and it's not going to do well. It's very niche as well.
I'm willing to give it a try because, it was only one episode. And sometimes pilots, they put a lot of effort into it, and they're trying too hard, and it doesn't end up living up to the hype. But overall, the show can end up being pretty good beyond the pilot.
We'll see.
So, yeah.
But I'll talk a little bit more about the episode. It stars
Seth MacFarlane as the lead, as the captain, and Adrian Palacki as his ex-wife, who was also his first officer. You know what? I will give this to the episode, was that the plot and the way they ended the show was good. It kind of tied together. You saw where it was going, so it was kind of funny. It just wasn't laugh out loud, and it wasn't memorable. What do you think, Josh? I know you watched it.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think it was laugh out loud, but like I said, sometimes pilots miss the mark. But I liked it enough where I said I'd stick with it. You missed a character that was in it, Penny Johnson-Gerald. I don't know if that name rings any bells to you. Probably not.
Negative.
But if you were a Star Trek Deep Space Nine fan, she played Cassidy Yates Sisko, who was Captain Sisko's love interest in Deep Space Nine.
Oh, is that
she
the
was
doctor?
in about? She was not a doctor. She was like a pilot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and she was in 15 episodes of Deep Space Nine, so quite a few.
Okay, because I did recognize the doctor. I don't know her name at all, but the doctor in that show was Captain Gates, I want to say, from Castle.
Oh, I wasn't a Castle guy.
I was a huge Castle guy. And yeah, she played Captain Gates for a few seasons, and she was pretty good.
Very good.
But,
anything else you want to talk about with the fall season coming out?
No, but expect more of this from me because new TV series are going to drop. New seasons of shows I've watched before are going to drop. So I think I'm going to be trending away from the trailers.
I'm looking forward to some stuff coming out this year. Are you looking forward? I mean, somewhat looking forward to anyways. Young Sheldon. I know you're a Big Bang Theory fan. Young Sheldon's supposed to be, I think, coming out tomorrow.
I haven't watched The Big Bang Theory in a few years. Like, I haven't followed any of the new seasons. Mm-hmm. I might try watching it, but I can't say I'm too attached to The Big Bang Theory or to Sheldon right now.
Well, I like The Big Bang Theory, so...
Yeah, I've never really been into Big Bang Theory. I've seen a couple episodes, but was never able to really get into it.
I'm just looking through a list of different things that's coming out that I'm personally looking forward to. Big Bang Theory season 11, Young Sheldon, which we mentioned. Kevin Can Wait season 2. I like that show.
Kevin Can.
What?
You like Vanilla, huh?
I like Kevin Can Wait. I like that. Kevin James is good.
Okay, but they kill off his wife and they're bringing back Leah Remini as his wife, right? His new wife in season 2.
They are? They're killing her off?
No.
Oh.
Yeah, they are. They are.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
I know the actress who played his wife was not very good. I know they're bringing in Leah Remini, but she was in season 1 as because he's supposed to be an ex-police officer, and she was like one of his partner when he was on the force. So they're bringing her back.
Yeah, they're bringing her back
I
as
saw
the
that
wife.
too, but I didn't know they were killing off the wife.
I'm pretty sure it's...
Are you sure they're killing the wife off? Because they already had her in season 1, and she wasn't a love interest at all.
Yeah, that's why I hear they're bringing her back. I'm pretty sure that she eats the wife, and that's how you get fat Leah Remini.
Oh, goodness. Anyways, I did like Kevin Can Wait. I'm looking forward to season 2. Another thing that I'm looking forward to is the Goldberg season 5. I like the Goldbergs.
I like the Goldbergs too. Are they going with season 5? I heard one thing that they might do is a spin-off going into the 90s.
No, it said and this list is Goldberg season 5. It says it's coming out Wednesday, September 27th.
Cool. I'm looking forward to that.
And then I'm going to keep on scrolling through Bob's Burgers season 8. I like Bob's Burgers.
Yeah, and I do want to say about Bob's Burgers, up until recently, they had only had the most recent season of Bob's Burgers, but right now they have all Bob's Burgers seasons on Hulu.
Oh, nice. And then also we have Last Man on Earth season 4. I know you were a Last Man on Earth fan.
Ugh. I can't stand Last Man on Earth,
Especially after the stuff they pulled at the end of the last season. I'm only watching that if my wife has it on TV. I just can't.
Yeah.
I don't watch enough TV to be relevant in this section. I watch football when it's on, and I watch IndyCar, and other than that, I just watch YouTube.
That's
Stranger Things season 2.
Yes, Stranger Things season 2. I know you're not looking forward to this, but I'm looking forward to The Flash season 4.
Who's not looking forward to it? Oh, I'm not looking forward to that. No, you're right. I guess that's pretty much it. I'm looking through of stuff I know anyways.
Blind Spot season 3 is coming out. I can't wait to dump all over that, especially after the way they ended Blind Spot season 2.
I didn't watch I didn't really get into the Blind Spot thing. We're going to move on, but first, let's get a word from our sponsor.
This segment is brought to you by Geek-Cetera.
Do you have a comment that you'd like read on the air? If so, email at geekceteranetwork@gmail.com. Looking forward to hearing from you.
We're going to move on to the Great Debate. I know we've been pushing the Great Debate off for a couple weeks now. We're going to talk about different Snoke and Rey theories and what we believe. We're going to start with Snoke. So what do you guys think about this Snoke character? Who is he? What's his backstory? What's he going to do in the future? And whoever wants to start can go right ahead.
All right, I guess I'll start. I saw one that I liked just because of kind of the rumors that have been put out about him that Snoke is Mace Windu. And they said that this is somebody who's been there throughout the entire rise and fall of the Empire. I don't remember if you guys have done it on this podcast, but made the argument that he gets electrocuted and thrown out a window and all this and whatever. But at the same time, he is a Jedi Master. We've seen Jedi slow their fall to not die. The electrocution wasn't enough to kill Emperor Palpatine. Cutting off a hand didn't kill Anakin. They've survived falls like that before. So I think he could have survived a fall like that. I don't know what would have caused his turn to the dark side. There's the rumors that his purple blade is because of his connection to the dark side and his connection to the light. But
I
overall,
think that's Legends now.
Well, Legends are good enough in my book. So I do like the idea that Mace Windu would be Snoke, just because he has that connection to the prequels of seeing the beginning of the Empire.
That's not bad. I will say I'm following the Darth Vader comic series. There's a guy, I think it's a Star Wars Theory guy on YouTube, who rehashes all the Darth Vader comics as they come out. and Darth Vader is supposedly going to be squaring off against Mace Windu in the new comic that's coming out. So I don't know if Snoke is Mace Windu. Maybe we'll see connections.
Maybe that's where he gets the giant scar across his face.
Yeah, I'm selling that theory, Chase. I can't buy into that. I'm okay with Star Wars bringing back Darth Maul. If anybody hasn't heard, they brought back...
No, that was terrible. That was a terrible choice.
Well, they brought him back for Clone Wars. They brought him back for...
They brought him back too many times.
Star Wars Rebels.
Way too many times.
But I don't think they're gonna move. I don't think they're gonna bring Darth Maul back to the movies, and I don't think they're gonna do that with Mace Windu either.
Yeah, I don't think it's Mace Windu.
In half. Mace Windu lost a hand. There's a major difference there.
I agree. There is a big difference.
He kind of lost his body too, being thrown out the window.
Yeah. I don't think it's Mace Windu because recently, and this is relatively recently, they released a close-up picture of Snoke, and it's very clear to see that he looks to be a white dude. I mean, I guess you could claim that maybe the electricity did something to him. I don't know why though. If they were going to have it be Mace Windu, why you wouldn't have Samuel L. Jackson come back and replay his voice, because his voice is totally different. But I'm like Kyle. I'm selling that theory. I don't believe it. I personally don't think Snoke's anyone that we know. I think he's just some dude that they're going to introduce.
So I've given you some crackpot theories in the past. I'm going to take this great debate very seriously. This might not be a theory that I love, but I think it is the most plausible of the theories that I've heard and the evidence that has been suggested. And that Snoke, in the media that's been released of him for episode 8, it looks like he physically looks better than he did in episode 7.
Yeah.
The theory there is that he's regenerating, which is part of a grander theory that Snoke, and I do hate this, I don't like this theory, I just think it's the most plausible, is that Snoke is Plagueis, but that's not Plagueis' original body. Plagueis has cracked the code on extending his life, but it's by inhabiting host bodies. So when Sidious killed Plagueis, around that episode 1 era, he took on another body, which may have been Snoke's body, and he's been in a fight, and he needs to take on a new body now. Now, I also think that that's the reason why he had a hand in creating Anakin, and that's because he wanted to have Anakin as a host body. It didn't work out, and I also think that's why he wants Rey brought to him, is to use Rey as a host body, which plays into kind of the theory that I believe about Rey, but I won't bring that up right now. But I do think that Snoke is Plagueis. Maybe he's not actually the Plagueis physical person from prior to, which is something that's vehemently been denied by Pablo Hidalgo, but I do think that it is Plagueis as a host body, and I think that's who Snoke is.
I think you could be right. I think Plagueis is a reasonable choice. It will be interesting to find out if it is, or if he's someone from beyond the edges of space, as to what Thrawn is alluding to, as to being some powerful force out there that we don't know.
Fair enough. I agree with the unknown regions of space. Something that Luke really wants to know about. It's possible.
Yeah. So that's our theories on Snoke. What about Rey? What do we think about Rey? I know my theory isn't that popular. I don't think we know who her family is. I think she's just a girl that got wrapped up in this.
Can't be.
Why?
Okay, but Kyle, your theory about her being a Kenobi is stupid because cloning is no.
Dude, you don't even understand. No, I'm not going to get back into
okay,
that.
good. Luke would be mad that he's not here for that.
That is the theory I really do love the most, but I know it's not the most plausible. But Rey can't be a girl, and the single biggest reason that I'm coming out to you saying this, Josh, is because Daisy Ridley has already said that we should be able to figure out who Rey's parents are based on things that have been revealed and or said in episode 7.
Misdirection.
I don't think she'd do that.
I think we are, yeah.
I
have two theories. I think she's either nobody or she was raised by her family. Her father is Unkar Plutt. Why is that so hard to believe?
Have you looked at him?
Because she's not a big jelly roll like Unkar Plutt is.
Hey, it's Star Wars, man.
Hey, I'm keeping this with plausible theories that I think are actually true. Honestly, Rey is probably Luke's daughter, but
there's also a theory out there, and this is what I subscribe to. I think it falls in line with the whole who Snoke is theory, and that Rey is another person that has been created using the Force. I think that is actually why it was so important for Qui-Gon, so important for Obi-Wan, for Yoda, to be able to get into the Force Ghost
Wow. You're having problems
Force
tonight, aren't you?
Ghost Land. Whatever we're going to call that land, that Force Ghostia, if you will. But I think that's why it's so important that they had to do that, because they also needed to find out how to create life using the Force. I think that Luke, Yoda, Obi-Wan, Qui-Gon, whoever got together in all the years learning the Force, they created Rey using the Force to actually be the chosen one. And Snoke wants to use Rey as a host body because he never got to use Anakin as a host body.
I don't mind the idea of that, really, I guess, that she was made by someone. Maybe she was made by Snoke. But here's my thing with the Luke idea, that she's Luke's son. Where did she get this accent from?
That is a good question. I think she's more Luke's daughter than Rey's son. I mean, Luke's daughter than Luke's son. But the accent thing...
Luke's daughter. You know what I meant.
Know.
That's the one thing that keeps me towards Obi-Wan, like in a Dark Horse theory.
The accent can come from anywhere, though, because I've read a story on the internet about how there was a girl, she's, I think 14 years old, and she has a British accent, because when she was growing up, her parents only talked to her in a British accent. Her parents are completely American, and then once she was 14, they just stopped. The reason that they did that is they said that they wanted their daughter to have a British accent. So it's more just how you were raised.
Unkar Plutt has a British accent.
Okay. Yeah, so she was raised by him. It wouldn't necessarily mean that there's genetics there, because that's stupid. But your environment is going to determine more about your voice and your accent than your genetics will. Because you can't say that British people have different vocal cords just because they were born in Great Britain than Americans have just because they were born in America.
I
Great Britain,
suppose.
England, isn't it all the same? Aren't we all just one
Semantics.
people?
Yep.
I don't know. I think Snoke's nobody, and I think Rey's nobody.
Yeah, the one theory that I do like about Rey, though...
Oh, well, if they're nobody, why are we going to watch the movie?
Because it's a good story.
Because it's Star Wars.
Not everyone has to be someone.
It's a good story about nobody. No, come on.
No, nothing.
They're definitely going to be somebody. At least Rey will be, but yeah. One theory that I did like about Rey, though, is that Rey is the one that turns to the dark side, and Kylo is the one that turns to the light. Because when you watch Rey fighting, she uses her emotion, she uses her passion so much. When Finn gets hurt, that's when she goes off on Kylo. But before that, she's
and that's
mediocre
why it's
at
time
best.
for the Jedi to end.
Yep. So, I like the theory that, Kylo was supposed to take on the role of the Dark Apprentice to kill Snoke, and, he had to do these stupid things like murder the rest of the Jedi class to try and bring him closer to that dark side. And that's why he still feels the pull of the light, is because he knows that it's wrong. But he has to do it in order to get close to Snoke. And I like the idea that, he's going to turn around and be the good guy, and Rey is the one who's going to fall to Snoke and become Snoke's apprentice.
Okay, but the only person that knew Snoke was out there that felt him, and we have this in canon, is Palpatine. It's not like they knew who Snoke was. It's not like Luke knew who Snoke was and has been planning for years, this is how I'm going to kill him. It's Snoke came from the unknown regions and tempted Kylo Ren. It's not that Kylo is good. No, and that's the thing. Phasma and Kylo Ren, they can't all be these double agents.
They can, because I say they can't, Kyle.
No, I'm sorry, they can't. And if you want to, I will buy into the theory that by episode 9, Rey will be bad and Kylo Ren will be good. But I can't buy the theory that it was that way from the start. That Kylo Ren is somehow some agent for good, secretly plotting to kill Snoke.
Okay, fine, I'll allow that. as long as you're on board that Rey is the bad one and Kylo will be the good one.
Yeah, I can get behind that. But 1 million girls in America will be crying their eyes out knowing that Rey was really bad because she is their ray of light. Pun not intended.
Yes, it was.
Pun not intended, but they love Rey. They look up to Rey. How many girls dressed up as Rey for Comic-Con because they love Rey? They love having a hero that they can look up to that's a female.
I think probably more of them were in the Slave Leia costume than in Rey. Just saying.
Rey is a strong character and a good lead role and a good role model for younger ones, for sure.
Yeah,
if that turns out to be that she's bad, then that's going to probably be, it's going to affect some people, but it's also good storytelling.
Yeah, if you're going to have a celebrity death match and put up Padme, you're going to have a Royal Rumble between Padme, Jyn Erso, Rey, and Princess Leia. Rey's going to win every time by fan vote.
I don't know. I would like to do that.
I don't know.
I would like to do that. I think Leia could win.
Yeah, all right.
What,
so
you want to acknowledge that?
How are you doing this? Are you doing it by which one is more popular or by which one would actually win in a fight amongst all of them?
No, I said fan vote. So
okay,
which one
just
is
a fan
more popular?
Vote. Okay. Then I'd say probably Rey, just because that's the newest movie. Well, I guess it's not, because technically Rogue One's newer. Whatever. Semantics. Rey is the more popular of the new movies. And so I think that's the one that's going to be on everyone's mind. Whether or not, Leia and Padme were more strong, independent women, more so than Rey is. I just think that it's the newness, the uniqueness of having, a female Jedi lead, female Force user lead, that's going to win the fan vote.
Yeah, and what's funny you say that is the difference for me between Rogue One and Star Wars Episode 7, which were both great movies, was the characters in Star Wars Episode 7 stuck out more to me. I'm interested in what happens to these... Well, I guess I can't really be interested in what happens to the characters because they're all dead.
Yeah.
But I love the character development. I love Rey and Kylo Ren. And my favorite character from Rogue One was K2. I really don't feel like any characters stood out in Rogue One. It was the sum of its parts. The whole is greater than the sum of its parts because it was a great movie all around. But I didn't really connect with any of the characters other than K2. Whereas with Star Wars Episode 7, it's all about the characters for me.
I suppose I connected with some of the characters. I did like K2, probably one of my favorite characters. But I really liked
Krennic.
No, not Krennic. What's the guy's name? I can't even.
That guy who hobbled around on a cane and got shot in the first 10 minutes of the movie.
What? Who was the guy? The blind guy.
Oh,
Chirrut. Yeah, Chirrut and Baze. I like those guys.
Yeah, I should take that back. I totally forgot about them, but I really did like them.
Yeah.
I just like the sassiness. I like the sassiness of K2SO. I like the sassiness of Chirrut because it's just that's the kind of humor that I like. I like sassy, witty kind of banter stuff.
Yeah, I like that movie. Man, that was good. I gotta watch it again. All right, so those were some of our theories.
Then you're gonna have to redo that segment as the not so great debate.
We hope you enjoyed this week's episode of Geek-Cetera. A big thanks to Chase for joining us this week. Really want to thank you for stepping in, even though it was sort of last minute. You did a great job, and we hope to have you back soon.
Thanks, Chase.
Love to be back.
Absolutely. And then also want to thank Mr. Hugs for our intro and outro music. And you can find more from him at mrhugs.bandcamp.com. Also, a big shout out to Indy Riley for our logo. Check out her work at indyriley.myportfolio.com. That's INDYREILLEY.myportfolio.com. And join us next time for another crazy adventure. But until then, 3, 2, 1, let's jam.
We'll use the Force.
And I've heard it both ways.
For more from the geeks, please check out www.geek-cetera.com. This podcast was brought to you by the Geek-Cetera team. Now this is podcasting.